Within the taxes module, we actually have 3 tabs: tax rates, tax groups, and POS flags. Tax rates allow you to define the actual tax rate for a location. Clicking Add New on the top right will take you to the Create Tax Rates page. At the top, it's asking for a name, and underneath that, we have an optional account number field. So if you have an accounting code for this tax rate, you can enter that code here, and it will be notated on an export. Underneath that though, we have the actual area where we define the tax rate for our locations. We have 2 locations here with 3 different fields for us to enter our rates. We have a rate value by percentage, we have a flat tax, and occupational tax. This is where you actually define the rate for the location. So for this example, we're going to do the rate value of 9%. After you have defined that rate value, you'll click one of the 3 save options on the top right. And now we'll move on to tax groups. Tax groups are used when you have multiple different types of taxation that you need to perform at a location. So for example, let's say we need to create a city tax. To do so, we'll add new on the top right, which will take us to the Create Tax Group page. So on the top, we're going to name this City Tax. Underneath that, it's asking for a description of what this tax group is supposed to be for. And then beneath that, we have all of our different tax rates that we have created. So for this example, we are going to click the standard tax that we have created, and then click the Add Rate button. After we have added that, we can see that it's popped up here underneath the Add Rate button, and we have a button for Enabled. We want to leave that to Yes. After we've filled out all of this information, we click one of the 3 save buttons on the top right. Now that we have our city tax group, our store is also going to be selling tobacco. Well, the state that this store is based in has an additional tobacco tax that I need to set up. So to do that, we're going to click Add New again on the top right, which will take us back to the Create Tax Group. And we're going to name this one Tobacco Tax and give it a similar description. After that, we will go down to our tax rate dropdown, and we see our standard tax, which for this scenario, we are going to add that as well. And we're going to click the drop down again, and we can see that we have tobacco tax, which was another rate that I had previously set up. We're going to highlight that and then click the Add Rate button. And we want to be sure that both of these are enabled. That way, whenever a department containing tobacco products comes in to the transaction, the system will know to apply both the standard tax and the additional tobacco tax. After we have these all lined up here, we're going to click one of our 3 save options on the top right. And we can see we have 2 additional tax groups now. So now we need to create a POS flag. This is actually what houses the tax rates and tax groups and applies them to the products during transactions. To create a POS flag, we will click the 3rd tab at the top, POS Flags. On POS Flags, we will see a list of all of the POS flags that we currently have. By default, we give you 1 that you can either remove or modify. But for this example, we are going to add new. After clicking Add New, it will take us to the Create POS Flag screen. At the top, it's going to ask for a name. We're just going to create the standard tax flag. Underneath that, it's requesting a tax group. We will click the drop down, and here we can see those two tax groups that we had just created. For this one, we are going to select the city tax. Beneath that, we have a negative flag. When this is checked to yes, this will change all of the value of the products added to a transaction utilizing this flag to a negative value. We don't want to do that, so we're going to keep that to no. Allow food stamps. If this flag is applied to a department, all of the items within that department will be eligible to be paid for by food stamps. Has age restriction. Clicking this to yes will show us an additional field for age required. This is actually where we control age-gated products. For this standard tax flag, we are not going to make it age restricted. Lastly, underneath age restriction, we have excise tax. So if this flag is also going to handle excise tax, we can define that percentage here. On the right side, if we have excise tax set up, we can control which locations that excise tax is going to be for. If we also have age restriction, we can control which location has a restriction. For this scenario though, we are not going to utilize any of those. We are going to apply our city tax group and save. Once it's saved, you can see our additional POS flag here. Now we need to create a POS flag for our tobacco taxes. On the top right again, we will click Add New. And that will take us back to the Create POS Flag screen. For the name, I'm going to name it Tobacco Tax. And then select the Tobacco Tax tax group. Going back down the list, we know that in order to purchase tobacco, you must be 21 years or older. So we are going to check has age restriction to yes. In the field, we are going to type in 21. You'll also notice that when we have age restriction turned on, there's an additional button. When you click that to yes, you will see that two additional fields show up: grandfather policy age and grandfather policy date. These allow you to define the age required before the federal minimum age had changed. For this example though, we're just going to turn this to no. If there are any specific locations that only sell tobacco and would require the age restriction at those locations specifically, we can add those here. After we have finished setting up all of the parameters, we can click Save and Close. And that's how you create taxes and POS flags within the FastTrax Control Center.